Hello there. Let's go over some probabilities of false positives. I made up a couple additional tests here, so we're not just repeating classwork and some of the homework problems, but similar ideas. So 9 observations in a row alternating above the mean, below the mean. You might want to set up some casework here. So there's different ways to think about this, but we're going to list it out with casework. So you're either above, below, above, below, above, below, above, below, above, or below, above. So you're either abba baba ba or baba baba bee. Abba baba ba or baba baba bee. Yeah, you're either one of those. So the chance that you're abba baba ba, means that your first probability has to be above the line, and that's going to be 1/2 probability. And the second one's got to be below, so that's a half. And these are all 1/2, so that's actually 1/2 to the, there's 9 of them, 1/2 to the 9th. Or, this one, that's actually also 1/2 to the 9th. Now, these events are mutually exclusive. You can't simultaneously be above then below, or below then above. So, abba baba ba and baba baba bee cannot happen at the same time. So we can just add those probabilities together using our addition rule. And if we want to do a little bit of simplification, we can. This is actually 1/2 to the 8th power. So there's actually a different way to think about this, which is it doesn't matter what the first one is. The next one needs to be opposite it, and that's a 1/2 chance, and then you got a half times a half times a half, 8 times in a row after the first one. Okay, so 1/2 to the 8th power, we can type this in. Alright, so typing that in, I get 0.0039 stuff, or you could do as a percentage of 0.39, that should be a 0.39%, which is actually the same thing as getting 9 in a row on 1/2 of the graph. So that one's kind of an interesting application here, that your likelihood of alternating 9 in a row is the same as just 9 perfectly above or below. So the kind of graph that you could get for this is, imagine that this is the mean and alternating above the mean, below the mean. So maybe we start up here, go down here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Something like that. Is that right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9. Boom. There we go. Now we're back above. Okay, so next one. 5 out of 7 observations in a row on 1/2 of the chart in zone B or beyond. So let's first come up with an example. And for 5 out of 7 to be hitting this, it could be, let's see here, we got to be in zone B. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So something like this. Boom, 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 boom. So there we got our 5 out of 7. All right. So this one's going to involve a fair amount of casework. I don't think we're going to be doing anything quite this involved, like 5 out of 7. It's much more along the lines of like 2 and 3 or 4 out of 5. But 5 and 7 is pretty lengthy, as we're going to see in a moment here. But let's list all the ways that this can happen. So we could have a lucky day and just get all 7 of them hitting zone B or beyond. And that would just be perfect. But we could also have a situation where we get it just 6 out of the 7. There's our first situation, and then I'm going to just move that not B on throughout the system. So I have a whole bunch of those. Should be 7 all in all. And once we get more comfortable with these, we won't list all 7. But there we go. It's in the back, second to the back, third to the back, all the way up to the front. Now the last one, the 5 and 7, oh boy. So I think this is a bit easier to put the not ones first, and then I'm going to try to keep the first one to be not, and then slowly move that second one down. So I got there, and then I just try to keep moving it down the path here. I ran out a little bit of space there, but should be all of them. So it moves all the way down and ends with it. Then I have the next situation. Well, what if the first one is B, and then we try to get the other B's in there. And it should just be one less than the other one, kind of around a space here. That one, this one here should actually be in that first group there. Okay, and then we keep going. So what if the first one we hit B for the first two? And then we have our not B's. And thank goodness it's getting a little bit shorter. Then we're going to have 3 B's in a row that are not B's. All right, and you can see that this is beginning to shrink down quite a bit. So now we're going to have 4, and then boom, and then that's going to move again. There, we're done. And to the point where we'll get all 5 of them in front, and then the last 2 don't work. All right, so that's the 5 out of 7. So let's do a little bit of counting here. That all in all, there was only one way that this could happen. For the 6 and 7, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 ways for that to happen. And then the 5 out of 7, well, there's a bunch here. Let's see here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in that first row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the second. Then 4, 3, 2, 1. Triangle number, interestingly. So that's 21 ways that we could arrange the different 5 B's and 2 not B's. So now to build the probability. You either get all of them in zone B right away, so that's a 7 out of 7, and to be in that side in zone B or beyond, that's a 16% chance. And to get all 7 of them in there, you got to have 0.16 to the 7th. Or you're in this one. So it's either this, or this, or this. And to get 6 out of 7, well, you know, there's different orders here, but you got a 16% chance of getting B, and that has to happen 6 times in a row. And then you don't get a B, and that's 0.84. Now, when we say don't get a B, you're not getting a B next to the other B's. It could be a B out on the outside. And there's 7 different arrangements of that, so we got to put that 7 out in front. Or you're in this 5 of 7 one, and there's 21 arrangements here. And for zone B, that's a 16% chance, and there's 5 of those, and 2 ones that are not going to work. So it's like just looking at this first one here, this one here, you got 5 that are in zone B, 0.16 times 0.165 times, and then times the 0.84 times that 0.84, 21 different arrangements for that problem. So that gets us everything that is on this zone B, but it could also be up here in the top zone B. And we would have to recalculate this whole thing again, but it winds up being symmetric, so you can just multiply this whole thing by 2. It's either here on the bottom or on the top. The top looks just like the bottom, so we can multiply through by 2. And actually, I guess this could be maybe one of the tests, because the probability of a false alarm is pretty close to the probability of the false alarms of the other one, 0.331% there. So I don't think anything we're going to have you do on the exams is going to be quite as involved with this casework, but I really wanted to show you how you could go about listing out these different possibilities. And it really just is casework that either they're all zone B, or there's the 7 ways that you could get 6 out of 7s in zone B, or the 21 ways that you could get just 5 out of 7 in zone B, or this over here that was both the top and the bottom for that thing. Okay, this one got a little bit long. Thanks for watching. Character and Scholarship for Life.